House. Give me my respect.
Welcome to Camber House.
You're now rocking with the best.
All right. How you been, Zane?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good. This is Zane Maloney, Unfiltered. It's been a while since we had a chat last. I think it was after Monaco win in FIA. I mean, what an incredible year that you've had. I'm gonna get you to walk me through it, but before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. Jeremy just had a baby. Congratulations, Jeremy. He's not with me today.
Congrats, Jeremy.
Yeah, baby boy Lucas. So hopefully we get into racing pretty quickly. And then I got to do a little bit on, this past week has been kind of crazy in the world of motorsport. Obviously lost one of the main contributors to online content for cars, which is Ken Block. Obviously, came here and won Rally Barbados. I don't know, you probably would have met him at the previous event for Global Rallycross when he was here, right? I got to meet him, and we got a bunch of signed stuff here. So that was a big shock to the community. So, prayers and thoughts to his family and friends. When you met him, what did you think of him?
Yeah, I met him. He came down for Global Rallycross.
Yeah.
He came twice, actually, for Rally.
Yeah.
He was a very nice guy. Of course, it's a big loss to the whole motorsport community. He had many followers and fans around the world. Yeah. And then I remember he came for Rally Barbados, but I wasn't here, so I didn't see him then. But I remember him at Bushy Park with Lewis, him in the Rallycross car, Lewis in the F1. So yeah, it's a big loss to the whole motorsport community.
So with that being said, let's get into it, Zane. I mean, quite a astonishing momentum shift for you in FIA F3. First off, I think last time you were on here, you talked about going for the right team. It wasn't necessarily about it was more about who had the best setups and who had done it. So I know in FIA you were with Race GP, right? Yeah. And then you decided to make the shift to Trident, and because they were previous champions, that was the main. Because I guess you would have had suitors. So why did you choose Trident?
Well, to be honest, I was very surprised when I got the Trident seat. So you do testing before the year, usually with many teams, but I had my eyes set for Trident, and there were many, I think 10, 12 drivers vying for 3 seats. So I went and they tested me, and then I got with Trident, which was amazing at the time because they were teams champions in 2021. So it was a great opportunity.
Do you feel, and I guess I'm going to talk a lot about this today, but do you feel pressure going into a team like that to perform immediately? Is there go through your mindset of what your expectations were? I mean, we know you're quick, but did you feel like you were going to be super quick out of the gate, or was it a big learning curve? Yeah,
there is a lot of pressure. Usually going from FRECA or even F4 to FIA F3, most drivers don't get the opportunity to go with the top team straight away. Usually you have to do 1 year, and show your talent, and then get the opportunity with the top team. So I was very fortunate in that aspect straight away, and I knew I needed to perform. I was kind of at the same level as people my age, so I couldn't afford to do another year in F3. So I put all my effort in, and it really paid off. Okay,
I have to talk about Imola in the rain. What was the conditions really like? Because that was the first time really driving in the wet for you. Yeah,
because you're not allowed to do many test days. So I remember we had testing in Bahrain, which was dry, of course, and sunny. And then I think we had one more test in Jerez, which was wet. Okay. So, I did maybe 2 days in the car before Imola. And to get pole in the wet, we were on wets, so it was very cool to get pole.
One of the best sound bites, by the way, if you want to hear you after that quali.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Loved it.
I remember the team told me box this lap, and I was very annoyed with myself because it wasn't a good lap, and then they told me I was on pole. So that's where you got the you have to be joking from.
Loved it.
But I remember the start of the feature race. So we had the sprint race. I came 5th, starting 12th, and then we had the feature race. It was full wet, but over there the tracks dry so quickly, so everyone kind of had to go on slicks just because we knew in 10 minutes or 15 minutes time it'll be too dry for wets. They had lots of wet runners around me, which made it very difficult.
I'm sure.
And then, yeah, I just was too greedy.
Yeah.
I did one restart with my teammate behind me, and I got a good restart, but I knew that I couldn't do the same thing again because he knows what I'm going to do.
Right.
So I tried to do something a bit risky and a bit different and didn't pay off.
Well, I mean, I'm sure your mindset, because I mean, the first half of the year was pretty tough for you.
Yeah.
Did you ever question, yourself at that time, or you always knew you would, have a chance to get back there? I mean, walk me through your mindset in the middle of the year.
Yeah, it was quite crazy because I had the blow up of the engine in Bahrain, which made it difficult straight away from the start of the season. And then Imola, which I lost 25 points.
Yeah.
And then I missed the weighbridge in Barcelona when I should have started pole on Saturday. So the first half was...
Is that something that... The weighbridge incident, is that something you'll just always look back on and think, like, Christ, like... Is it something that it came late? Did the team tell you? Was there anything like that?
Yeah, so after that incident, we had a few rules and a few different things that we were doing to make sure it doesn't happen again within the team.
Right.
But it was quite simple. I was usually, whenever you come in the pits, to look at the weighbridge in qualifying, because practice, if you miss it, you don't get in trouble.
Right.
So in qualifying... I do remember I was just on the radio saying about the balance, for what to change for the car for the next run, and I just wasn't looking at the weighbridge. It's very simple to do and such a big consequence.
Right.
So
and then that ruins your entire weekend, both races. That's done.
Yeah, well, I tried my best. I think I got up to 13th.
That's it. You came through the field. Yeah.
But when you start from the pit lane, it's almost impossible.
Well, I think the whole world will know that you seem to come through the field. Pretty well.
That was a good learning weekend as well for racecraft and stuff.
For sure. Then I have to talk about. I can't remember which one was the crash. It was Spa.
Yeah.
What? This is the one with Ollie, right? Or
both.
Yeah. What was? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember all of it. Unfortunately,
really? What was that like? Because that was a pretty scary moment.
Yeah, it was a very big crash. Well, my teammate was overtaking him. He got a massive slipstream, went alongside and almost passed him. Mm-hmm. So I showed from quite early that I was going to follow him through. I don't think he saw me. It was a racing incident.
Yeah.
If I look back, of course, I would have waited one or two more corners and not been so greedy. Yeah. But yeah, once we touched, there was no going back. And
that was a big one.
When I hit the wall, I thought the seat belts went through me.
Really?
Yeah, I really thought that they were through me, and I can't remember what exactly I did to undo the belts after I was stopped, but they were so deep into my stomach that I had to maneuver myself to even get them off. So yeah, it was a very big one. I
wanted to ask this. I know a lot of drivers and some podcasts I watch talk about fear, especially after you've had a big accident. Do you have any kind of hangover from a crash like that? Is there anything that goes through your mind the next time you get back into the seat?
Well,
that was in a sprint, right?
Yeah, that was in the sprint race. So that whole day at nighttime, I felt very dizzy and maybe a bit, I just felt very, very bad. Massive headache, lots of soreness in all my body.
Right.
But once I got back on Sunday, I was ready to go. I really didn't think about the accident. I know some drivers might think about the accident while driving next, but I don't struggle with that really. I'm back in the zone, ready to go. And I knew that weekend could be the start of my championship, let's say, starting second.
Right, because
finally
you ended up winning the feature race.
Finally a chance to not make any mistakes and get the job done, so I was ready.
I mean, you ended the year with 3 wins, which was no one had done. Was it momentum? Was the car feeling good? Talk to me about setup. Was it just you were in the zone at that point?
Yeah, nothing really changed. No. When I look back at the whole season, I could have had 5-6 wins. So it was more making too many mistakes at the beginning. And at the end, of course, I got better throughout the season in terms of pace. Yeah. But my qualifying all year was very good. So I just needed to put it together. And once we did, then we started to win a lot.
Yeah, I mean, quite amazing. A lot of big pundits talking about you for the future. Does it hurt that you didn't win the championship this one because you threw away so many points? Are you just moving on, or is it just like, oh, I wish I could have done, you know.
Now I've moved on. For the few months after the championship, of course, losing the championship by 5 points after when I look back and see what happened.
Right. Can we I'd like to go back and actually talk about the Monza, the final race, because for a minute, I was almost sure that you would won the whole thing.
Me as well.
So walk me through when you get into the pits and then you're all outside and they're red flagging it. Was there like a whole mass? It looked mass confusion to me.
Yeah.
Because I thought that he was further than 5 seconds. He had a 5 second penalty on Victor Martins, right?
Yeah.
He had a 5 second penalty, but I thought that you were ahead of him.
Yeah, me as well. So I remember the race got red flagged.
Yeah.
We came in, but at that point, we all still think the race will restart. So I was speaking to my engineer about what, in the end, we changed to fresher tires in case the race restarted. And I was just in the zone. And then, so you keep your helmet on and everything just because they only give you 5-10 minute warnings. So
Correct.
I was ready to go. And then we got told the race will not restart. And within like 10 seconds that he has a 5 second penalty. And I remembered crossing the line twice under safety car. So I thought it's over.
Yeah.
He's
further back.
Further back, yeah. But we didn't cross the line twice, so they put it back to when we were still racing. So it was a lot of confusion. I got told by like 5 or 10 people that I won, 5 or 10 people that I came second. So it was a lot of chaos.
That is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna mention this, and you can talk about this if you feel to. But the battles with Ollie Behrman, he seems to have some good choice words for you. And that's just good racing. I mean, what's he like outside of it? Is it just banter? I guess you're racing to be competitive at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, we're fighting for F1 seats, so it's not gonna ever be normal, I guess. He's very fast.
Yeah.
Good racer. We had a few moments this year, but when you're in the car, I think I said a few things about him as well. So maybe not on the radio, maybe on the radio. So it depends on the situation. But that last race of the year, I knew I had to win, so I was going to do anything to win, just like how he was going to do anything to win. Right, so.
And I think that's a sign of a good racer, and you kind of have to be that person.
Yeah, I think it looked like if we didn't like each other just because we're racing so hard and we're both, I guess, with the same mindset of wanting to win. And we collided a few times, but we're all good. Off the track, we have some good chats, so it's all good.
All right, that's good. I'll wait to get to F2 here, but obviously FIA Rookie of the Year. Did you know that was coming to you? Because you're essentially the highest placed rookie, I think, right? Yeah,
well, the FIA Rookie of the Year was all categories in racing.
Right, okay.
So it was really cool.
Okay. Wow.
I think I'm the first F3 driver to win it.
Wow.
I think it's usually F2, F1. I got emailed maybe 2-3 weeks before.
Wow.
So it was really cool. Because that's a massive award in motorsports in general. The best rookie, it could be rallying, it could be anything motorsport wise.
All motorsports.
Yeah, so it was really cool.
And then Charles obviously gave you the award.
Yeah, that was cool as well. Of course.
You guys have a chat with him?
Yeah, afterwards we had a 10-minute chat, which was nice. Hopefully I'll be racing him soon.
Good. Right now, so vice champion, heck of a season. A lot of people talking about you. Is Trident the one that calls you to say, we want you to do the last race, or is it something that you were vying for? Was there a seat where all Roman Stanek and the others wanted to do it too? How did that come about, the Yas Marina race?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. Okay. I let the management side deal with that. So I remember just getting a call, a quick call saying, do you want to do it or not? Obviously, I said yes. I think at that point it was all sorted out already.
Right.
I'm not sure if anyone else was fighting for it.
The step up to F2 for that?
No, to be honest, it was I was going into the weekend with zero pressure. Okay. No one looking at me really to perform. Yeah. I was just ready to go and learn as much as possible and have a bit of fun for the first time of the year, because before it was a lot of pressure. So yeah, I didn't really mind where I finished. Of course, I wanted to do the best job I could, but there was nothing happening if I didn't do good. So I was just going to learn.
It was good experience for you to get in the car. Give me some of the differences.
So the F2 car is a lot heavier
Yeah.
than the F3 car. To be honest, I think they're slower in most corners than the F3 car. Because it's so heavy.
Right.
Yeah. So heavier, carbon brakes, which is a lot different. There's a small window on where the brakes work and when they don't work. In F3, the brakes always work no matter what you really do.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting the tires into the right window, whereas in F2, it's getting the tires into the right window and also the brakes. Because if you don't have enough temp in the brakes, they do nothing. It's like a road car. So that was tough. More power, but there's a turbo, so a lot of turbo lag.
Right.
You don't really feel the
until
power.
the higher RPMs.
Yeah,
right.
you don't feel more power than F3.
Okay.
So it's just a different technique of driving.
Okay.
That's about it.
Obviously, you've just been testing, Carlin. I know that there's been no announcement yet. I don't know when that will be. Obviously, it's like everybody seems to know that's going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
How did the preseason testing go for you?
Yeah, it was very good because I went straight from the race with Trident over to the test with Carlin, which was, I knew the track then, and I could kind of do 3 days of just learning, which was cool. I haven't made any announcements yet. I don't know when I will be on what I'm doing this year now.
But it's safe to say you will be driving an F2 car.
Yeah, I will be driving an F2, which is a step up, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I guess the difference also is that you're going to be on the F1 calendar completely this year. There's some tracks on this calendar that I don't believe you've ever driven, which would be, Sakir, Jeddah, Melbourne, and Baku.
Well, I've driven in Sakir's Bahrain.
Right.
Yeah, so I've driven in Bahrain. I haven't driven in Australia, Saudi Arabia, Azerbaijan.
Right.
So those are some tracks. I've driven in Monaco, thankfully.
Right, well, you won that one. So.
Yeah, but there's a few tracks to learn. But this year was similar, so...
Right. What was your favorite track this year?
I quite liked all of them, to be honest. Spa, probably.
Yeah?
Yeah, Spa is probably one of my favorites.
What does it feel like to go through Eau Rouge?
In a GT car, it's difficult. In an F3, F2, it's easily flat, but it's still, you're looking at the sky when going up.
Because it's blind.
Yeah, so it's all about knowing where to position the car. But in terms of a thrill, there's not as much in a single-seater car because it's quite easily flat. So in the wet, it's quite cool.
Yeah, well, terrifying, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And obviously, you had a huge announcement that you have signed for Red Bull.
Yep.
I would ask you how that came about. Is it just management? How did that come about?
Yeah, well, I guess the performances at the end of the year, Red Bull were looking at my performances. Again, I let the ADD management deal with pretty much everything when it comes to my career. They do a great job. So I'm not sure how it came about, but I just know it came about, and I'm grateful for it. And looking forward to working with Red Bull.
Like you had always wanted to? Does it help you a lot? Like, I don't know, in terms of what they provide, and obviously with a seat, and they'll do liveries, but do they help you, like, off track? Is there things that they do? Yeah,
I'll be doing lots of days at the factory, preparing for what the future can hold, and I'm at the stage of my career now where being with Red Bull really helps, and being part of that family really is a good thing, so, yeah.
Well, obviously, because we have watched a lot of things with Red Bull and Helmut Marko, seems like there's a lot of pressure on young drivers in the academy. Some of the comments he made about Hauger and Lawson last year, they're pretty tough on their rookies. Do you have we've spoken about timing before. Obviously, the timing has worked for you very well right now. You're in it. You're going to F2. There's going to be seats opening up in F1. This is kind of the right time, especially if they're bringing more teams and Audi's coming in. They're talking about maybe Andretti and stuff coming in. What is the goal this year? I mean, because as we all know, if you win the championship, you can't race it again, and you would have to go to F1 or somewhere else. Would you have a goal this year in terms of where you want to be?
Well, my personal goal would be to be in F1 in 2024. Okay. Of course, I need to focus on this year and get the job done. Red Bull have 4 seats in F1, which is a big positive. If I do the job, I'm sure that they will put me in because they want the best drivers. So, yeah, first I need to do the job in F2. I can't look too far ahead.
Of course, yeah.
But I would love to win F2, be up at the front in F2, and then have a seat in 2024.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know which car that's going to be in, but we have a good idea. In terms of Red Bull, obviously, you'll get the opportunity to do an FP1 this year?
As of right now, I'm not sure. First, I need to do the job, and then what they decide for me is what they decide for me. I'm sure if I do the job, there will be something. Yeah. But until then,
because all the teams legally have to have young drivers in various different.
I think the rule is that 2 FP1s for young drivers in each team. Yep.
Okay. Obviously, your team. I can't say that either. There's a lot of how many Red Bull drivers are going to be on the grid? 5?
None are really announced yet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not really too sure.
All right, fair enough. What else do I want to ask you here? So, what's been the experience like of your whole career? You know, you've been building to this moment. Have you had a chance to sit back and like take in what you've accomplished at this point? Like,
not really.
No?
No, I've been home
I mean, you're changing the game. I mean, for a Barbadian driver, I mean, this is like unbelievable, right? Yeah. I mean, I just think you got to kind of take in the winning moments.
Yeah, definitely.
Go, right?
I think that I've been home for 2.5 weeks, which has been really nice to kind of settle down and really focus on what I've done and what I need to do next. I would have loved a bit longer. I leave tonight. But it's, I still have sat down and really thought about how good last year was. Yeah. But it could have been better. So I need to, in this sport, there's no one waiting and watching and saying, oh, you can do better here and there. It's, you need to get the job done and step up. So yeah, I just need to focus on the job that I need to do and not really big myself up too much just yet.
For sure. How has your life changed, you know, from the F4 days to what you're experiencing now in racing? What are the main differences? Is it like more data driven? Is it like what's the teams like compared to your first, FIA F4?
Well, it's a lot more technical, So I have a lot more to do during a weekend off the track, on the track even. So it's a lot tougher, but you learn as you go. So I'm kind of used to that now. I think sometimes it's good to keep it quite simple. So go back to the F4 days. Yeah. We try to do as little as possible with getting the big and important things out the way. I'm sure with Red Bull, there will be a lot more to do as well during the year. In F4, I was coming back home every 3 weeks, whereas this year I'll be coming back home every 4 months.
So what does your schedule look like? You say you leave tonight. What's the next? Because I know testing is March, right?
Yeah.
What's your schedule like between now and then?
Well, I think it's good to get away and get into the time zone very early, get into the mode of racing. When I'm in Barbados, I really don't want to see a race track, a race car,
a rally
go-kart, maybe a rally car at some point. But it's good to get home and settle down. But once I go away, it's kind of just all eyes on racing and doing whatever I can, sim days, training days, just everything to get back in the racing mode.
So you'll be in the UK and you'll be with your management team, or it's more training, or you'll be at Red Bull from now?
Well, I'll be at Red Bull a little bit. I will be
testing with the team. Yeah,
I'll be with ADD management doing some karting days. I'll be at my future team doing some sim days. It's flat out from the time I get over there.
How's the sim changed through the categories? Has it changed dramatically?
Well, usually the team have the same sim, and you have different softwares for each car. So nothing really changes too much. No.
Well, Zane, we wish you all the best for 2023. It's a huge year for you. Take it on in stride, and we look forward to seeing you back at some time. In terms of goals, I guess you're going to go to win it and see what happens. Be as fast as you can. Wait, is there any, let me ask this question. Are there any drivers that, you look at and you think they're easily my best competitors, or like, is there a group of drivers that you see right now?
I think F2 is quite stacked when it comes to next year. There's so many drivers that can win. There's the the rookies, including me, and then there's second year, third year drivers who have a lot of experience and they'll be quick from the very beginning. Of course, Ollie Behrman is going to be at the front or close to the front at least.
So for Prema?
I think he's for Prema. Yeah, he announced last year. So it's going to be very tough. I think 6-7 of us are coming up from F3 to F2.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot for this year, right?
Yeah. So when you really think about it, other than Djokovic, Vips, Armstrong, it's all the best F2 and F3 drivers from last year. So it's going to be very tough.
Where's Armstrong's finish then, I guess?
IndyCar.
He's going to Indy.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's 2 or 3 drivers going to IndyCar.
Lawson's going out to Japan.
Yep. And then...
That's an interesting... Is there why would somebody do that?
Well, I think he's done 2 or 3 years in F2, so it's quite tough to do another year. I think he's trying to go over to Japan and try to win there. And then I think F1 teams look at all categories. So, it's not just F2 that they look at. They look at IndyCar, they look at Super Formula, they look at lots of different categories.
Do you ever think about Indy?
No, I think about F1. Maybe if the time came, but my dream is F1, my goal is F1, so... I'm going to do everything I can and focus on that. That's it.
If Williams offered you a seat next year?
No, I'm with Red Bull.
Hey, it's happened before. Zane, always a pleasure. Certainly appreciate you giving us time. Really good luck. And we'll be in touch throughout the year, I hope.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Camber House.
Give me my respect.
Welcome to Camber House.
Now rocking with the best.